Hey guys, we are back with more New York Islanders franchise mode, and in this one, we're going to be moving Andreas Mueller down to the second line because, as you take a look at his role, he is officially a second line forward, actually. And if you take a deeper look at his stats, you can see that his giveaways to takeaways ratio is not favorable, 6-2. So I'd rather not stunt that part of his growth. So we're going to be putting him on the second line with Beauvillier and Ho-Sang. And that'll reunite the first line with Lee and Barzal, along with Duclair. So that's the only change we're going to be making in the first part of this season, as everyone else is pretty much doing all right. Dobson is officially a top 4, 82 overall, so that is good to see. And let's check out the AHL real quick. Yes, Bodie Wild is indeed a 76 overall depth defenseman, so I'm glad that we put him down there on the top 2 pair in the AHL. He should be ready for next year. Should be. And Sean Greiba is a 48 overall. That is absolutely rough for the Italian right there, but hopefully he can get some good growth. John Toiber is a 64 overall, minor depth defenseman, so hopefully he could get some good growth as well. Ragnarsson is a 77 depth forward, so again, should be one of those guys who's ready for next year. Czak is officially a 64 overall. And Ottoson is at 59. As we take a look at goaltenders, Smith, not sure why you're in there, but Hutchinson is a 67. There you go. Okay, so he was at 57 last year, remember? He jumped 10 overall points to his 67, so we're seeing some good improvement out of Jason Hutchinson. Zane Roenick is a 55, so he has quite a ways to go. But Hutchinson is clearly the better goaltender at the moment. And then scratch down here, yeah, not concerned about any of those guys. So we'll get back to the NHL and we'll get back to simulating here, as I don't believe there's too much else to do. Yeah, we can go ahead here, as I made the only change that I wanted to make. So we're going to go 1 month here. We'll go up to the game against Vegas and see how we do. So there's a 2-0 loss. There's a 4-3 shootout loss. And we are not starting this month out the greatest, but hopefully we can rebound here. Being 8-5-2, you know, we can afford a couple losses here and there, but, you know, nothing too crazy, obviously. As well, a lot of people are still technically doubting this team, as it is still very young, and we are just coming off of a rebuilding season and a season where we picked first overall. So obviously there's going to be some doubters. We're currently 13-92. That's not terrible. It could be better though, just given the start that we had. I believe it was 7-3-1. So let's see. What did we go in this month? I'm not going to count shootout losses as a separate thing. I'll just count them as losses. So 0-2, 0-3, 1-3, 3-3, 4-3, 6-3, 6-4, 6-6, 6-7. So we went 6-7 in this month. Very iffy month, obviously. Now we're down there in the standings. However, we are also 5 points away from first in the Metropolitan. So still very much up for grabs is the Metropolitan Division. But, you know, we can't go on too many slides like that if we want to make the playoffs with how competitive this division is right now. So team leader in points is Anders Lee with 20. So I guess it's a good thing we moved him up to the first line. Wallstrom with 19 points in his rookie season so far. What a guy. Beauvillier with 18. Marlowe with 17. My goodness. Barzal with 16, Duclair with 15. So the depth scoring coming in huge right now for the New York Islanders. Mike Commodore with 15 points as well in his rookie season. Ho-Sang with 14. Mueller only with 11. So he's been a little underwhelming so far, at least compared to the likes of Mike Commodore. I mean, geez. 15 points for him and only 11 for Mueller. But, hey, you know, everyone develops at a different pace here, I suppose. But the difference is Mueller's already an 86, so not sure what to think of that. Dobson with 7 points, +4 as well. Good for him. And anyone down here we're concerned about? Don't think so. So let's check on goaltenders real quick. How's Kincaid doing? 918? Not terrible. Not terrible. Grice with a 945 in 5 games, so that's pretty good as well. And yeah, let's just, I don't think there's really much of a reason to stop at the moment. Let's just check team stats just to see if maybe we could switch up something on the penalty kill or something. Goals for per game, we are 5th in the division, 2.67. Goals against per game, we are actually quite up there, 2.33. 2nd in the division for goals against per game. Huh. Interesting. Power play, we are definitely down there. We are 16.4. Only 9 power play goals so far in the season. That's a little brutal. Penalty kill, though, we're at the top of the division. So our defense is actually kind of good right now. I mean, compared to what you would think with the overalls, I mean, our best defenseman right now is Ryan Pulock at 83, and then you got, you know, David Schlemko, Marco Scandella, Noah Dobson, who's a rookie, and then Pelican Mayfield, but and then combined with that, you got Kincaid as your best goaltender, 81 overall, but I guess right now they're just kind of doing well. Which, you know, that's all right with me. So let's, yeah, I don't think there's any changes that I really want to make. I mean, I might be able to do something to the power play, but we'll just see what one more month does for this team. And if they can stay consistent with a winning record or not. So 1-1 so far in this month. 9-4 in that month. Pretty solid for a team that was just rebuilding last year. Again, I'm not entirely sure how this team is doing this, but it looks as if we are not going to be a lottery team, and as a matter of fact, we might even be a playoff team this year. So, but the issue is, we do need that elite defenseman. We don't have an elite defensive prospect. We have, obviously, Noah Dobson, who's on the roster currently, is top 4 potential prospect. We have Bodie Wild, who should be coming in next year, top 4 potential. And then we also have our recent draft pick in, what's his name, John Toibert. But he is also a medium top 4. So we need that elite prospect defenseman. And it is, I really wish we could get Pascal Duret. But at this rate, unless we get lucky with one of the picks that we traded for, then I don't see that happening. So let me go into trade players here. Let's see the value of our current draft picks that we have with Nashville and Philly. Yeah, I wouldn't imagine that those teams are too bad. Yeah, Nashville's pretty good. Philly, yeah, they're pretty good as well. So maybe we could trade those picks for a bad team, like let's say, for example, Ottawa. Now, I would imagine, yeah, their draft pick stock has gone up, has increased significantly. And yeah, I don't think there's any chance we're getting that. If we were to get Ottawa's pick, I think we would have had to trade for it earlier on in the season. I don't think that's happening. That's probably the first overall pick, if I had to guess. Now, maybe Minnesota. No, I mean, they're probably around the same value. No, actually, not quite. I mean, it's still a lot of value, but they're not quite at the value that Ottawa's at. So maybe if we traded for Minnesota's pick, because we really need that that elite defenseman, and it looks like Duret is going to be the only even close to NHL ready defenseman in the draft this year who is elite. So maybe if we gave them Nashville's pick and our own pick, I would honestly, I feel confident enough in our team right now that we could give them our own pick, because we are currently 22, 12, and 2. So, you know, realistically, how much of a slide could we actually go on? We would have to drop like 10 games in a row in order for me to, you know, feel uncomfortable about this team as it is currently. So maybe we give them 2 first rounders, Nashville's and our own, for Minnesota's first rounder. And again, Minnesota could start winning games, but, you know, I feel like this is a gamble I'd be willing to take to get a higher first overall pick. Proposed trade, rejected. Okay, maybe if I included I'm not going to include Phillies because their draft stock's still it's kind of up there. I mean, so is Nashville's, but, you know, you got to keep one of them. So maybe if we put in our own second rounder, rejected. Okay, I don't think we're getting this for fair value here. So I might just ignore that. Let's see. So Minnesota, I mean, they're definitely down there in terms of their their points. But again, Minnesota could start winning games and we could start losing games. So especially the way our defensive core and our goaltending is right now, you know, but at the same time, that's the reason why we need to trade for that pick. Okay, so what if, do we have like a prospect that we don't need? Like a prospect who's just like in the 50s or something? I don't think so. I don't want to get rid of Czak because he's already at a 67. He started this season as a 64. And I feel like he's going to be one of those fast growers. I really do at this point because we're only halfway through the season. And to already grow 3 overall points like that, I think he's going to have a huge growth year and he's going to potentially push for a spot in the NHL next year. So what do we do here? Ragnarsson's already at 78. What to do? I mean, we could potentially give up Zane Roenick, but then you're banking on Hutchinson being the one, you know, for at least in terms of our future in goaltending. And it looks like that is the case because he had a huge growth year last year, going from a 57 to a 67. So I don't know, would giving up Zane Roenick be a good idea here in this trade? Maybe if we got into Minnesota. Minnesota does want him. Does Minnesota need a goaltender prospect? Yeah, they do. They do. So they would definitely be interested in him and potentially giving up their first round pick for him. So maybe we could do this here. Zane Roenick, a 55 overall goaltender who we just drafted. And he's 20 years of age as well. So it's not like he's 18, you know. He's already lost 2 years there of development. So would this be a good idea? Roenick for a first round pick that could potentially be a top 5. Maybe if I might even be able to sneak like a second rounder in here. Let's see, proposed trade, rejected. Okay, you know what? I'll just I'll try to go for the third. If this doesn't work, I'll just go straight up for the first rounder. Proposed trade, rejected. Okay, we'll just go Zane Roenick for the first rounder from Minnesota. Proposed trade, rejected. Okay, so yeah, they really don't want to give up that first rounder, but I think we are definitely making a push for it with having Zane Roenick in there because they definitely want Zane Roenick and he has a lot of trade value to him. So maybe if I include a second round pick of our own, will that go through? No, isn't sufficient at all. So we would probably have to include one of these first rounders, and then we would probably have to include maybe another prospect, not an elite prospect, just another prospect. So maybe if we included Robertson here, along with, I'm going to say Nashville's going to have a good end to the season. I'm going to bank on that. So I'm going to put Nashville's pick in here. Oh, did not need to do that. All right, so Roenick, Robertson, and a first from Nashville for Minnesota's first. And again, Minnesota very well could have a great end of the season. And they could end up pushing this out of a lottery pick, or if they don't make the playoffs, then they could end up being just outside of the playoffs, and it could be a, you know, like middle pick. But we're banking on Nashville having a good end of the season, because, I mean, that is a good team, at least to my, you know, to my knowledge. They should still be a good team. Well, I mean, I guess they lost Roman Josi, so unless they re-signed him in free agency, but, I mean, hey, they still got, you know, guys like Phil Forsberg, Ryan Johansson. So I'm banking on Nashville having a good end of the season, and I'm banking on Minnesota staying consistent with where they are now. So Zane Roenick, Robertson, and a first for Minnesota's first. Proposed trade accepted. There you go. Okay. Now, I probably could have gotten a little bit more back there in that deal, especially since we gave up, you know, a first and then another prospect along with Zane Roenick. But you know what? If it means getting that elite defenseman in Pascal Duret, then I think we will, that is a good trade. Now, we, of course, have to hope that Minnesota is going to tank for the rest of the year. So it's pretty much all dependent on that. And I don't usually like to do those trades just because of that. Like, there's not really too much we can do to control the situation. So we're really just banking on luck there. So we're going to have to replace the backup goaltender here in the minors, which I guess would be Smith. Now, hopefully, actually, you know what? I don't want to put Smith in there because then it's going to give Hutchinson less time. So I will put Skarek in there. Yeah, there you go. Was Skarek a draft pick of ours? 2018. Was that my draft or was that... I think that might have been the draft right before the GM mode started. So we'll just have Skarek in there regardless. And yeah, we'll keep going here. I don't think there's too much of a reason to stop other than that trade. So we'll keep going. And hopefully now our scouts can really pick it up. And... Let's just actually, real quick before we keep going, let's take a look at the draft board. So, projected picks with the wild pick is projected to be in the top 10 for sure. So, that's good news. That's definitely good news. We're projected to be like late 20s. So, that's, I mean, hey, we're apparently a good team now. So I'm not gonna mess with the chemistry of this team. If it's working, then it's working. I mean, it doesn't really make too much sense with the overalls, but hey, you know what? It's a simulation. Koivula is available to play in the team's next game. They'll just continue. I don't think he was anyone we were too concerned about. Casey Cizikas is injured with an injured elbow until January 13th. Replaced player. Is Cizikas on the fourth line? Yeah, he is. So that would just put Stajan in there. Yeah, all right. Replace player. 5-2 win against New Jersey. 7-2 loss against Ottawa. 5-3 win against Boston. Cizikas is back. Not quite. I'll get you back in again after the Ranger game. So 7-2 win. 5-2 loss. We're going back and forth a little bit here. 3-2 loss. New York 4-3 loss. So we will stop the simulation right here. We'll get Cizikas back in there. I'd imagine Stajan's hurting the simulation a little bit. Wallstrom, 38 points in his rookie year. Calder trophy, potentially? All right, let's see. Let's get Stajan out of there, rather, and we will get Cizikas back in. So how's Williams doing in his return? Not too bad. Especially for a fourth liner, you know. All right, so I believe that is it. So let's get back to the simulation and... Let's see, we got these two games here against Tampa and St. Louis. And then, I believe, yeah, that's the break. We have a 9-day break there, so I guess make the most of it in terms of getting rest there. So 5 games left in the month. Let's see, if we can win 3 of those games, I'd be happy. So there's 2 wins already against Tampa and St. Louis. 2 very good teams, so cannot complain about that. Florida and Colorado coming up here. 5-2 loss and a 6-5 win. All right, we won 3. So that was good end of that month right there. What happened against Chicago, did not see. That was a 6-3 win. So we won 4 out of the 5 of those last few games, and we are currently 29-17-3. Who would have thought that for this team, honestly? I mean, we were such a bad team last year, and all of a sudden... You know, the New York Islanders just got it together, and all of a sudden, we are second in the Metropolitan Division. I don't know. Again, just it's just a simulation, so we're gonna have to just roll with it. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, but again, I'm just rolling with what's working. Beauvillier, 45 points. Lee, 42. Barzell, 42. Wallstrom, 41. Ho-Sang, 41. The depth scoring coming in clutch. Anthony Duclair, 36. Mueller, 36. Marlowe, 34. Commodore, 28. Dobson, 20. Pulik, 19. Clutterbuck, 16. Cizikas, 15. Schlemko, 12. Williams with 10. Scandella with 8. Stajan with 5. Mayfield with 4. Pelech with 2. Aho with nothing. He has not played in the game so far. Plus minus, you got Schlemko and Pulik leading there with a 24 and 20, so that's solid from them. Wallstrom with 160 shots in 49 games played. My goodness, he is a sniper. 21 goals. Duclair with 131. Lee with 125. Beauvillier 122. Mueller with 110 shots. Pulock 104. So we're looking good. We are looking good. Power play points. Beauvillier with 12. Lee with 11. Ho-Sang with 10. Marlowe with 9. Wahlstrom and Mueller with 6. Face-offs, let's see. We got Cizikas with a 52.2. Barzal with a 51.9. Beauvillier with a 49.9. And then you got Commodore with a 46.4, so he could be doing a bit better at the face-offs, but hey, he's a rookie. Let's see how he does as he goes on in his career. Lee with 103 hits. Pulock with 85 hits. Beauvillier with 83. Scandella with 82. Clutterbuck with 74. And then Schlemko, Mayfield, and Mueller with 57. So it's good to see Mueller has a physical part of his game. And oh my, Mueller has an 80 for faceoffs. He might be good as a center as well. If we need to use him there down the stretch. You know, especially if any of our natural centers are struggling at faceoffs. He's been doing very well for his rookie campaign, being on the second line. Takeaways: Lee with 41 to 24, Ho-Sang 32 to 28, Barzal 31 to 27, Marlowe 29 to 21, Duclair with 28 to 26, Wahlstrom 28 to 20, Beauvillier could be doing a lot better, 27 to 37, Schlemko 24 to 47, Clutterbuck 24-18, Commodore 24-19, Scandella 22-68. That's a little rough. Cizikas 19-25 could be doing better. Mueller could be doing better. 17-23. Pulock 16-36. Mayfield 15-39. Dobson 11-35. Pellick 10-43. Stajan 10-16. Williams 9-11. And then fights, let's see. Pellick, Mayfield, and Marlowe. Marlowe with a fight. My goodness. Okay, so let's check out goaltenders. And then we'll check out the minors. Kincaid with 22 wins in 35 games played. 911 save percentage. 918 for Grice in 15 games. And 2 shutouts for both of them. So that is good. All right, minors. Hutchinson with 13 wins in 29 games played. 909 save percentage. 264 goals against average. 1 shutout. Not too much to complain about there. Defenseman. Let's see. Bodie Wild with 20 goals in the AHL so far. Definitely pushing for a roster spot for next year. Minor top 2 defenseman. So, again, glad we left him down here. He's just clearly not ready for the NHL, but he's definitely making a push for next year. John Toibert with 6 points on the season. Looks like he's more of a defensive 2-way defender. And then Sean Greiber with 3 goals. All right, he's up there. He's getting there. Remember, he was at a 48 overall before. He's now at a 58 overall with all that playing time. So he's had a lot of development this year. And we're only basically halfway through. So you never know. You could see Greiber be one of those quick growers. And Christian Ragnarsson is officially a third-line scorer. But I will leave him in the AHL for right now. But he's definitely going to be on the roster next year. 79 overall. 48 points in 47 games played. Bellows with 26 points, 47 games played. 76 overall. Let's see, Cizek. 71 overall. Okay, that's actually very impressive for Tim Cizek. He was at, what, a 64? He's now at a 71 overall. And again, only roughly halfway through the season. So, he's another one of those guys who could potentially be making a push for next year on the roster. I think we've had a very, very solid time drafting here in New York. We really just need that elite goaltender, which it looks like potentially, as we go back into the AHL, it could potentially be Mr. Jason Hutchinson. You know, if he has another solid year of growth like he did last year from a 57 to a 67, you could see him jump up to like a 76 this year. You never know. By the start of next year, you could very well see him there. So you never know. I mean, this team, it's coming together. It really is. We just really need that elite defenseman. So hopefully the Minnesota Wild can continue to tank. And it looks like they're doing just that. 44 points so far on the season in 50 games. 18, 24, and 8. So And we actually happen to have a game against them right here. So let's actually, since this is a rather important game, let's go into it. Go into the slow sim. And hopefully we can beat them. Alright, first period, nothing happening. Second period, nothing happening. Okay. I'm not going to go into this just because we're so far into the episode already. But third period, let's see. Oh my. Scoreless. Going into overtime. Let's see who it's going to be. It's going to be a shootout. My goodness. Okay, so. Wow. Both goaltenders standing on their head. 34 shots apiece. And scoreless. How about that? Okay. Let's see. Shootout. And it will be a win for the Minnesota Wild. It will be 2 points for them. Goal by Andreas Mueller in the shootout. But goals by Patterin and Zucker on Kincaid for the 2 points for the Minnesota Wild. That is unfortunate. So, I mean, it's not that big of a deal because it's not like we're competing with them for really anything. It's just, you know, it'll help our chances with that top 5 pick defenseman. 6-2 loss against the Oilers. That is unfortunate. 3-0 loss against San Jose. What is going on here now, boys? 5-3 win against Columbus. Okay, okay. But a 4-3 loss against Philly. We are all of a sudden dropping the ball a little bit. 5-2 win against Dallas. And shootout loss against the Bruins. A shootout win against Tampa. Going to quite a few shootouts this month. 2 back-to-back right there as well. Then Toronto, 6-4 loss. 3-2 shootout loss. Another shootout loss. What is going on here, Islanders? 4-1 win. And then a game against Washington day before the trade deadline. So with 33-21-6 going into the trade deadline. Okay, so what do we do here? We are currently sitting in a divisional spot, 72 points, but it's very close. It's very, very close. Check on Minnesota. Oh yeah, they're garbage. I'm glad that we traded for that pick. As a matter of fact, they are last in the league. Even Ottawa has surpassed them. Dallas has surpassed them as well. That was a potential steal of a pick, guys. that was a steal. So, I mean, of course, if the lottery treats the Minnesota Wild well. So, anyway, let's check out the points real quick. Matt Barzal with 54 points in 60 games. We might just do the rest of the season here, honestly, because besides that little slide there towards the end, I'm feeling pretty confident in this team for the most part. Wallstrom with 27 goals, 51 points. Beauvillier with 50 points. Lee, and this is the reason why, right? We have so much depth scoring. I mean, you wouldn't expect it from this team, especially from guys like Anthony Beauvillier, like from Duclair. I mean, Duclair is pretty good, 83 overall, second line forward, but, you know, it's just like I guess the balance of the amount of points that everyone is getting, you know, 54, 51, 50, 49, 46, 46. Everyone is so close together. It's ridiculous. I don't think I've seen a team in the simulation yet that is this close together in points in terms of the top 6. And Wallstrom is on the third line. 51 points on the third line. That's ridiculous. I mean, I know he's on the power play. Yeah, 10 power play points, but that's 41 points on the third line. 41 for a rookie. Beauvillier with 50 points, Lee 49, Mueller 46, Ho-Sang 46, Duclair 40, Marleau 36. Good pickup. Definitely a good pickup in free agency. He's surpassed his point totals from the past 2 seasons, so can't complain about that. Veteran presence as well. Mike Commodore with 32 points on the season so far. Good season for him. Dobson with 23 points. Clutterbuck with 21. Same with Pulik. Cizikas with 18. Schlemko with 15. Williams with 13. Scandella with 8. Stajan with 5. All 5 goals. Mayfield with 4. Pelech with 3. Aho with nothing so far on the season. Schlemko plus 27. And Pulik plus 24. That pair has been a surprise defensively all year. They have been shutting it down for us tremendously. Shots on goal, you got 200 for Oliver Wahlstrom. My goodness. 161 for Duclair, 152 for Beauvillier, whereas Mueller, he's got 129. So, again, everyone's just having a solid season. There's no one who's really standing out, and there's no one who's really underperforming. It's just everyone's chipping in equally. It's great. I love it. Face-off percentage, Andreas Mueller. I might have to consider, especially if someone struggles in the playoffs at simulating in terms of face-offs, I might have to consider putting Mueller at face-offs in the center because he's pretty solid. I mean, of the face-offs he's taken so far, 78, 56.4. That's pretty solid. Barzal with a 53.1, Cizikas 51%, Beauvillier 50.2. So only center who's really struggling is Commodore, and I don't think I would want to break up the line of Beauvillier, Mueller, and Ho-Sang in order to get a good face-off guy instead of Mueller, or Commodore. So I think, honestly, we'll just let him tough it out, let him figure out what he needs to do to start winning face-offs. As a rookie, that's the best thing you could do, especially for an 18-year-old, you know. He's still got a lot of development to do, and the best thing for him is to just, I think, for right now at least, keep him at center. 133 hits for Anders Lee, 104 hits for Pulock, 98 for Beauvillier, 95 for Scandella, 85 for Clutterbuck, 75 for Schlemko, 71 for Mueller, 67 for Mayfield, and 58 for Pelech. Let's check takeaways and giveaways. 50 to 31 for Lee, 36 to 34 for Ho-Sang, Barzal with 35 to 34, Wallstrom with 34 to 27, Beauvillier, unfortunately, with 33 to 47. He's having a little bit rough right there. Duclair with 31-32. Marleau 31-26. Commodore 31-27. Scandella 30-79. That's a little rough, as I mentioned. 29 to 22 for Clutterbuck. 28 to 59 for Schlemko. 26 to 45 for Pulock. 25 to 27 for Mueller. So he's got that ratio up there. He's definitely getting better. He's definitely getting better. He should be first line ready for next year. I mean, I swore it said first line forward on there at first for a role. I guess he just dropped down part way through the season. Cizikas with a 22-27. Mayfield 16-48. Dobson 14-47. Williams 13-15. Pelech 13-48. Stajan 10-16. Fights, you got Mayfield with 1 as of recent. So that's all that's happened lately. Goaltenders, Kincaid with a 912 save percentage and Grice with a 922 save percentage in 19 games. Kincaid in 44. So Kincaid could be doing a little bit better, especially with the save percentage that he had last year, likely with New Jersey. Although you can't argue that he has played a lot more games this year. But then again, he's kind of, it's interesting because he's on track for what he was in New Jersey that year, where he played 41 games, which happened to be last year in terms of the real world. 912 and 912 save percentage in just around the same amount of games, and he has the same amount of wins too in only 3 more games played. So it's interesting. Very, very interesting is Keith Kincaid. So let's check out the AHL now. Let's check out our guy, Jason Hutchinson, 908 save percentage, 16 wins in 35 games played, 68 overall. So we're definitely seeing him jump here a little bit. Defensively, you got Bodie Wild with 38 points. He's slowed down a little bit goal scoring wise, but that's all right. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to rush that guy. Sean Greiber, 63 overall. I mean, okay. You know what? Sean Greiber, he started as a 44 overall. He's now a 63. So he's definitely one of those quick bloomers there. Toibert, 66 overall. He was a 64 to start the season, so seeing a little bit of growth out of him as well. Ragnarsson, still a 79 overall. 54 points in 55 games played. Not bad from him. Cizek, let's see him. 75. Yep. Cizek is going to be pushing for a spot next year for sure. We've seen him grow from a 64 to a 75 overall in less than a full season. 55 games. 55 games. And he grew that much. So, very solid drafting so far for your New York Islanders, I gotta say. I mean, I hate to scratch my own back or pat myself on the back, but, you know, it's It's looking pretty good. And yeah, I believe that is it. So let's get back to the simulation. I mean, we're 45 minutes into this video on the recording already, but that being said, I do feel comfortable with this team, and I don't feel like this team is at the point where we can be trading for veterans willy-nilly. Like, I don't want to be making too many trade deadline acquisitions. Like, whatever happens, happens at this point. Because we've had a season where we're competitive, but we're not at the point yet where we can, begin trading our prospects for veterans who can help us make a playoff push, but then have them potentially drop off, So, I think, and especially now that we have that Minnesota Wild pick, which is looking absolutely juicy, you know what? We're just going to go ahead to the end of the season. I think whatever happens, happens. This team deserves a chance to prove themselves, whether they make the playoffs or not. They deserve a chance to. This roster itself deserves the chance to try to make the playoffs on their own without any additional help from veterans. I mean, we have Patrick Marleau and Justin Williams already. So I think this roster just needs to tough it out. Even if we lose the rest of the games, that's why I didn't trade our first round pick to Minnesota. But, even if this team loses the rest of the games, it still, regardless, deserves the chance to go on, as I've said 3 times now. So I'm going to stop saying that. I'm going to stop repeating myself. And let's actually, we haven't checked the draft class in a bit. Let's do that right now. Strite, McLennan, Mathot, Durat, he's looking solid in the QMJHL. He's looking like he could be potentially NHL ready. I mean, his puck skills are at a B, but you know what? He's a defensive defenseman, so I can't really complain about that. I mean, hopefully he'll be one of those defensive defensemen that is able to get points. I mean, he's got an A- for shooting, A- for senses, so you never know. That offensive awareness could be up there. It very well could be up there, so we're really banking on that Minnesota pick here. So we've been a little back and forth here in this month. Loss, win, loss, win, win. Loss. So we've been getting losses for the most part. Yeah, loss. Yeah, okay, so the season's starting to take a tide for the worst. Yeah. Yep. You knew that was going to happen eventually with this team. But that being said, even if we don't make the playoffs here, I mean, 41, 37, 34, and 7, it's entirely possible that we made the playoffs. It is, especially if the rest of the division had a weak year, weak end of the year. But even if we didn't, I'm proud of the team that was able to get to where they did at the midpoint of the season. Right? We saw a lot of progress this year. We saw a lot of growth from our rookies, especially from guys like Oliver Wahlstrom, Andreas Mueller, Mike Commodore, Noah Dobson. We've got a very, very bright future ahead of us here in New York. So let's see if we have clinched the playoffs. And we are not. Not in the playoffs. As a matter of fact, we are in last in the division. So that is unfortunate, as there was a very, very, it looks like that last playoff spot where the New Jersey Devils currently occupy was a very tight race. I mean, literally 3 points between them and us, and we are in last in the division. So it really could have gone either way. If we had won 2 more games, we would literally be in that spot where New Jersey is right now. But again, I can't really complain. We saw a lot of good things this year, and next year though, we have to take that next step and make the playoffs. So, and obviously we have to get that elite defenseman in the draft because it's necessary. So let's see where Minnesota ended up. Oh my goodness, boys. We pulled a clutch one. Minnesota is last in the league. 31, 41, and 10. We traded them Zane Roenick, Robertson, and a first for, I believe, whose first did we trade them? I think it was it San Jose's? Yeah, I think we traded them San Jose's first. Well, that being said, San Jose is quite down there for points as well, but you know what? We have the best odds at the first overall pick, and not only that, even if we don't get the first overall pick, we only drop back to 4 with that pick. So we still have a solid chance, I would say, at getting Pascal Durat. And you know what? Yeah, because he's ranked 4 for the Central Scouting. So we have a very real chance at getting Pascal Durat. Or we could get someone like Toby McLennan. But I think the logical choice here for your New York Islanders would be to go after Pascal Durat. Because we already have that sniper in... I mean, we already have so many scoring wingers. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, Andreas Mueller, you got Ho-Sang, you got Duclair, you got Wallstrom, you got Ragnarsson. I think we're set for scoring wingers. So I'm not going to be going after Mark Mathot or Bennett Straight. Toby McLennan, I mean... You know what? No, we don't need a center because we have Cizek coming up next year, making a push for that spot. You got Mike Commodore, who's going to be growing. You got Beauvillier, who had an outstanding year this year. I would guess at least. We haven't checked the final stats, but as of when we last checked, he's been doing amazing. And Barzell, of course, is Barzell. So I really think the logical choice here for us would be to go for Pascal Durat, even if we get the first overall pick. So... I mean, pretty solid year overall. It's unfortunate. I was going to check if we actually, what pick we traded there. Maybe, because I'm blanking out a little bit on what pick we traded. If you guys could go back for me, or I'll probably notice it in editing. I'm pretty sure we traded San Jose's, however. But you know what? It was worth it. We got a good, very, very good pick from Minnesota. So... That being said, let's check out the team stats and the player stats as well. We'll do the player stats first. 73 points for Barzell. Very good season from him. Lee with 62 points. Mueller with 62 points in his rookie season. That is what I'm talking about. 23 and 39. Beauvillier, see what I mean? 61 points. Like, we don't need a center. We don't need wingers. We need that defenseman in Pascal Durat. Oliver Wallstrom, 59 points in his rookie year. 32 goals. Man. Honestly, Mueller and Wallstrom are both runner-ups, I would say, or maybe even front-runners for the Calder Trophy. Either of them could win it. I'm going to guess it's going to be Mueller, though. I'm going to put my money on Mueller, just because he has also got that plus 14 for plus minus, and Wallstrom's got the minus 13. So that third line was a little rough defensively. It's probably, honestly, what hurt us the most down the stretch, but you know what? Still a very good year for this team in terms of where we were last year, you know. Ho-Sang with 58 points as well. Is that a career high for him? It should be. Yes, it is. A career high indeed for Josh Ho-Sang. Duclair with 54. Is that a breakout year for him as well? I believe it is. Yes, it is. So a lot of good years here from our guys. Patrick Marleau with 41 points as well at 41 years of age. Most points he's had in a few years there, so good on him. Mike Commodore, rookie, 18 years of age. 14th overall pick from this past draft. 36 points. What a kid. Pulock with 35 points. So Pulock all of a sudden is becoming an offensive threat. 88 offensive awareness. I mean, he's been pretty solid for us ever since we've had him. Which was since the start of GM mode. Cizikas with 25 points. Dobson with 25 points in 82 games played. He did very solid for himself throughout the season. Clutterbuck with 24. Schlemko with 18. Williams with 17. Scandella with 10. Mayfield with 6. Stajan with 5. Pelech with 3. Aho did not play a single game this year. Plus minus, Pulock and Schlemko, these two brought tremendous stability to the back end. Plus 23, plus 21. I mean, it's insane. Oliver Wallstrom, 273 shots. What a guy. 215 shots for Duclair. 204 for Beauvillier. Lee with 202. Mueller with 172. And then you got power play points. 15 for Beauvillier. Lee with 13. Ho-Sang with 12. Mueller with 12. Wallstrom with 11. Barzell with 11, Marleau with 10. Very solid year all around. I mean, obviously, it would have been better if we made the playoffs, but again, this team saw a lot of improvement, so I'm proud of it. Proud of this team. Barzell, 53.1 face-off percentage. Beauvillier, 51.3. Cizikas, 50.2. And Commodore, 47.9. So he got better. He got better at faceoffs as the year went on. Remember, he was at like a 46.3. So to improve by 1.5%, that's pretty, especially towards the end of the year. Like I believe we checked the stats remaining with 20 games remaining, and to go up 1.5 in that time frame, that's pretty significant. So he definitely got better at the faceoffs as the season progressed. And then hits, 182 for Lee, 144 for Scandella, 138 for Pulik, 136 for Beauvillier, 114 for Clutterbuck, and 104 for Schlemko. Takeaways and giveaways. Lee's got a good ratio. Barzell's got a good ratio. Duclair, same thing. Beauvillier could have been better. But he did have, that being said, did have a good year offensively. So at least he was trying to, in terms of having those giveaways, he was trying to create chances. So, you know what? If he didn't have as many giveaways, he could have had like 70 points. To be honest. Marleau, good ratio. Wallstrom, good ratio. Hosang could have been better. Commodore, good ratio. Scandella could have been a lot better. I mean, 43 to 107. That's not what you like to see, but okay, I'll take it. You know, it's going to happen. It's a defenseman. Clutterbuck, good ratio. Schlemko, I mean, again, going to happen. Mueller turned it around. Mueller really turned it around in terms of giveaways towards the end of the season. Remember, he had a pretty significant ratio not in his favor early on in the season, but he definitely turned that around, 40 to 36. Cizikas, 33-38, could have done better. Pulik, what you gonna do? Mayfield, what you gonna do? Williams, I mean, as a veteran, maybe he could have done better, 25-26, but not gonna rat on him too much. Noah Dobson could have done a lot better, 18 to 78, but you know what? He is a rookie. He's still learning. I'm sure he will develop those puck skills as he goes along in his career. Pelech, 14-64, Stajan, 10 and 16. Any fights to end off the season? Maybe one. Yeah, one from either Scandella or Pelech. I forget who didn't have a fight of those two, because I know there was only 3 players before. And I know Marleau. I remember Marleau had a fight for sure. So, goaltenders, let's see. Kincaid, 912 save percentage. So he stayed consistent with, generally consistent with when we last checked. 56 games played total on the season. So, he wasn't good, but he wasn't bad either. Thomas Greiss with a 907. It's going to happen. And then we'll check the AHL. Hutchinson, 908 save percentage, 21 wins, 68 overall. Hopefully he makes a push for the NHL roster next year and a huge jump in the offseason. Defensively, you got Bodie Wild with 27 goals. Again, hopefully he's one of those guys who can make a push for next year. Gryba, let's check on him. 64 overall. Again, he's seen some tremendous growth. Let's see, Torbert, 66 still. All right, that's fine with me. Ragnarsson, 77 points in 72 games. He's definitely ready for next year. Definitely. He's got that 88 offensive awareness. 90 in every category for shooting. His puck skills, I wish they were a little bit better, but he's getting there. He's definitely getting there. Let's see, anybody else? Cizek, 75 overall. I mean, I think we saw that earlier, but still. Very solid year of growth for Cizek. Remember, he started at a 57 overall. Or no. I'm getting that confused with someone else. He started at a 64 overall, but still, that's a good jump regardless. And yeah, just a really solid growth year for your New York Islanders. Now, it obviously could have been better, but what you gonna do? A lot of growth, and I'm very, very proud of it. I really am. So, I believe all that's left to do at this point, I'm going to go through the scouts real quick. I mean, this video is already almost an hour long, so you may as well just go up to the draft here. So, I'm going to do the scouting assignments manually here. They made it so that when you go to the screen and you go to potential comparison, you don't have to do that every time. You don't have to go over to potential comparison now. You could just do this. It's so great. Yes, that's a good change, EA. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That took up so much time, honestly. Okay, so, anyway. Let's get through to the draft, I suppose, and we'll see where we're picking. So, this will be exciting. Another potentially hype draft lottery? I hope so. So, let's actually... Is Bridgeport in the playoffs? I don't think so. Not with that record. There's no way. I mean, maybe? Nah, I don't think so. There's no way. 37, 34, 5. Yeah, there's no way. Okay. So, let's go up to the draft lottery now and see where we're picking. Because this should be interesting. With the Minnesota pick, we're guaranteed at least the 4th overall pick, which should be good enough for Pascal Duret. Let me know if that accent's right. I honestly, I have no idea. Okay, so draft class, let's see. I'm interested to see this because... Duret, he moved up to 3. Alright, come on, please. We need that 1st overall pick. We need that 1st overall pick. I want to be guaranteed Pascal Duret. Oh, man. Alright. I'm not looking at anything else besides Duret. Because he's exactly what we need. Come on, simulation. What you doing? He's probably finishing up the Stanley Cup Finals there. So the Stanley Cup champions are the Boston Bruins, and the Calder Cup champions are the Toronto Marlies. All right, so minimum salary cap $72 million, maximum $92. Okay. All right, let's see. Oh my! Oh my! Oh my! Guys, I've officially peaked as a GM. I've officially peaked. We got the 1st overall pick, not from Minnesota's pick, but from our own. Our own 1st round pick, which we were, you know, I mean, we were 3 points away from the playoffs. 3 points away from a playoff spot. And we still got the 1st overall pick with our own pick. And that's the reason we traded for the Minnesota pick, so we could have a better chance at the 1st overall pick. And we still got 4th with the Minnesota pick. Oh my. Oh my. Oh man. That's tremendous. I'm sorry. That's probably the best thing that's... Oh man. Okay. Pascal Duret, welcome to the New York Islanders. I'm saying it already because we're just... I know for a fact we need Pascal Duret. Oh man, no weaknesses as well. Oh, that's juicy. Similar style to Marc-Edouard Vlasic. Medium elite potential. We need you, Duret. We need you, Duret. Oh man. All right. So who do we? Now the question is, so who do we choose with number 4? We have our choice between Mark Bethot potentially, who looks like he's a good two-way forward. I mean, goal scoring, magic hands, pro release, no weaknesses. Are you kidding me? And then you got Harold Ryder, who's also a two-way forward, who's got the A+, no weaknesses, offensive creativity, playmaking ability, puck protection are his strengths. Similar style to Joe Thornton. Oh my goodness, dude, man, this team is coming together. I mean, we may as well see the potentials for the gems and everything for this draft. Let's see the gems and busts. Come on up. Come on up. There you go. So we'll just pin all the gems, I suppose. Foligno, Enroth, O'Byrne, Cone, Pirietta. He's supposed to go 167th. He's a medium elite goaltender. Playing in the SHL as well. Definitely pinning him. Lynn, Koivisto, Silverberg, Oda. A lot of gems this year. Only one bust. That's good. So, have all those guys pinned. Now, I mean... What just happened, man? I don't even understand. What just happened? Oh, man. Guys, who do we... I mean, for a fact, we need Pascal Duret. No doubt about it. But who do we take with number 4? Because we have 1 and 4. 1 and 4! Oh my goodness. Retired players. That's just too much, man. That's too much. Henrik Zetterberg retired. Oh man. Where am I going? Islanders. Let's see. Any retirements? Matt Stajan. Yep. Have a nice retirement, buddy. Got right enough in style with that 14 million. Alright, so big draft ahead of us, boys. I guess now, hindsight, I'm glad we didn't make the playoffs because now we have the first overall pick and the 4th overall pick. What in the world, man? What is our luck with this GM mode right now? Okay, okay, hold on. Let me check the awards. We just got a little spoiler there. Andreas Mueller is the Calder Cup the Calder Cup champion. Jeez. The Calder Memorial Trophy champion. What am I saying? Sometimes the things I say just don't make sense. The Calder Memorial Trophy winner. There you go. Okay, so Boston is the Stanley Cup winner. The Stanley Cup champion. I can't think right now, guys. That was way too much for me. President's Trophy, Chicago Blackhawks. Clarence S. Campbell, Calgary versus Boston. It was in the final. Player awards. Kane with the Art Ross. Hart Memorial, Kane. James Norris, Erik Karlsson, still in the Senators. Bing, Kane. Calder Memorial, Andreas Mueller. What a guy. Conn Smythe, Tuukka Rask, Vezina, Ranta, William Jennings, Carey Price, Bill Masterton, Josh Manson, Selke, McDavid, Lindsay, Kane, Maurice Richard, Patrick Kane. Okay, so Patrick Kane took home a lot of hardware, but Chicago didn't. Okay, I mean Chicago, they still got the President's Trophy, but oh man, I can't think right now, guys. I mean, we're already over an hour into this episode, so I think this is probably one of the longest GM Modes episodes I've ever done. So I'm gonna end it off here. We have the first overall pick yet again. Obviously, we're picking Duret, but who else do we take with that 4th? Let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next one. My goodness.